Good evening and welcome to the 12th Regulators and Policymakers Retreat being organized by IPPI here in Goa. And I have the honor of introducing to viewers all around the world the former minister and parliamentarian from parliamentarian from the Bharatiya Janata Party, Sri Ravi Shankar Prasad ji. Welcome to the retreat, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, we'd like to know, given the fact that you had a long and distinguished innings as a leading lawyer of the country, your knowledge of the laws of the country, the fact that you've worked to direct India's policies in coal and mines and have indeed expedited that particular sector, which was basically a state-controlled sector. What has been your experience, sir, of implementing economic liberalization in this period of transition?
You see, one thing we need to recognize. Country cannot grow with license permit quota Raj. Everything the state cannot do. The state needs to have a role. But India has a great tradition of entrepreneurial skills. Encourage those enterprise. Give them the facilities. And allow them to deliver and also earn money through fair means. That should be the real benchmark of this whole reform process. Second thing, those who are in politics need to understand one very basic thing. Growth without equity is possible. It will be pro-elite. It will be pro-rich. But genuine equity cannot come without growth. There must be real growth to divide it and distribute it so that it ensures distributive justice. That's what equity is about. If there is 10 bread, distribution will be difficult. If there are 10 lakhs bread, it will be easier. This we need to understand. Another, I always say, in India, we have spent too much of time debating as to how the bread shall be distributed. But how the number of bread should grow, we have not debated. That is how we have to see. I see a reform in that process.
So, if we look at the role of independent regulation and the fact that India is fairly new to independent regulation, we had 10 to 12 years, at least in the power sector. We had a fair amount of independent regulation as far as the Reserve Bank of India is concerned, or a longer period of time and perhaps forward markets. Where do you think, sir, that do we compare with other developing and developed countries as far as independent regulation goes?
You see, it is a complicated question. As I told in the gathering, politicians are most reluctant to part with power. But the good example of India has been that there has been all-party consensus for establishing a power regulator, aviation regulator which is proposed. We are highways we have got, regulator in the financial sector, maybe in the insurance sector, SEBI. All these are positive development having a bipartisan consensus. So regulators will have to understand two things. The political class has given them power. The power must be wielded with responsibility. That's number one. And number two, most important, don't forget one thing. There is a turf war between the regulator, inter se, and regulators and the political class. Now, most of the areas they are working with, power, roads, other things, are nation-building exercise. Regulators are supposed to see that they must ensure growth and also the concern for the poor people of the country. There's a big role they're supposed to play.
So, after this conference, IPPI is heading to Bihar on the 27th of July, where we're organizing a similar conference, a one-day conference. What is your experience, the fact that you, as also I, are from that state, of the last 20, 30 years, and especially last 5-6 years, how has Bihar scripted this immense turnaround?
Good political leadership. After all, you need to have a meaningful political leadership, dedicated, and the people respond. But what is good about Bihar is, Bihar was the mirror image of everything that was wrong in India. Rampant casteism, corruption, criminal political nexus, mafia rule, development not being an agenda of political discourse. Now see, once the political leadership generated hope, the people of the same state rewrote the grammar of politics, voted beyond caste, voted for development. You see the changes coming about. So it is a very positive sign about the image of Bihar and the image of the country, and also good for democracy. And both of us can today legitimately claim that we are proud of being a Bihari.
Sir, your experience at the Coal and Mine Ministry, even till date, we're still having a problem in the sense that there are environmental issues, go and no-go areas generated by this particular government. We've had the old issues where private sector people have been allocated coal blocks, but for a variety of other reasons, for lack of permits or land acquisition problems, they could not go ahead and develop the coal field. Some of them, of course, for their own internal problems for which they should be penalized. The coal has not come out of the ground and not seen the light of the day. Plus, we're having a severe shortage of coal, so we're importing Indonesian coal, and there the prices are going up. Even though Indians have bought stakes in Indonesian coal, the Indonesian government is saying you go to benchmark it to foreign prices, even if you own the Indonesian coal mine. How do we step out of this cycle, sir, so that we can give enough affordable power to the poor, and yet manage to grow, have the economy?
65% of India's power generation is thermal based, and we have got coal for the coming 200 years. Now, Coal India has been doing a good job. When I was a coal minister, it was a loss of 1400 crore. In 1.5 years, it went to a profit of 1500 crore plus. But we all need to understand that private sector has also got to be brought on board to make investment in the exploitation of coal blocks. Today, coal blocks cannot be done, coal mining cannot be done except by the government of India or by a government-owned company. And any core sector for the sake of power or cement and steel, if they get approval from the government of India. Now, why Indonesian coal is coming, other coals are coming, that you need to have a quick delivery mechanism. That's very important. If coal blocks are there, they have to be developed. Coal India is doing a good job, but only Coal India cannot do. I brought a law which has been approved by the standing committee. This government is not passing, that the cap of only mining by the government of India undertaking or a government company would be lifted. Anyone can do. Go for a bidding process by proper auction. Anyone can do it. But I don't absolve many of the private companies the irregular way in which procured the coal blocks, never developed it, and whole the idea was to pilfer it. I don't appreciate it. But coal being an important infrastructure sector, there has to be a proper mechanism where the government and the private sector both can work in harmony.
So how does the system of collegium work, since you do believe it's so successful?
Collegium was an instrument created by the Supreme Court when they said ki we will appoint the judges, we will recommend for judges appointment. So where the Chief Justice and the senior most judges are there. Collegium system is not for Lokpal Pradhanti, we are debating it. What is more important is there has to be a transparent mechanism for appointment of regulator. And also, the present system of appointment of judges has outlived its utility. So we feel there is a need for National Judicial Commission. Those are larger issues. But what is more important is regulators will have to recognize one thing. Policy making is the role of the government, executive. Implementation of policy is their domain. And settling that dispute inter se. They should not be seen to be framing the policies. All these are in a state of evolution. I feel it will settle down with the passage of time.
So finally, we'd like to know what is the BJP's economic vision for the next 10 to 15 years, given the fact that India is in such a period of social and economic transition?
Be very clear. We want India to become an important economic powerhouse of the world. That's the fundamental promise. Growth with equity, that's very important. A transparent mechanism for allotment of national resources, be it a spectrum, be it mining and other things. We have to understand that if India has to grow, it has to grow with a democratic process.
Do you agree that, for example, the Mayawati government has given 20% stakeholding to all the farmers? She's bringing about a law like that. Would the BJP support something like that?
Mayawati's, none of the stakes are clear. One is the front stake, one is the back stake. Let's forget about that. What is more important is that we need to have a new Land Acquisition Act where the farmers also have a stake. And I think if that is properly projected, I'm sure you need land for growth. You cannot say that you don't need land for growth. But what is important is land is in India is an important element of sentimental attachment as well. So how to blend the two? If certain new requirements are needed to be addressed, the law must address, and we have always suggested that we want a proper draft legislation It is pending for consideration. The government must pass that.